Hello, welcome to the podcast. Sitting across me is my next guest. He's back, second time around. Mpendulo.
Yes.
What's up, bro?
I'm good, man. I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. It's good to have you back.
I know, it's good to be back. It's good to be invited back.
Our last episode did very, very well.
It did.
Thank you to the subscribers.
thank you.
Siyabonga.
And if you're not subscribed, subscribe now.
The
If
people
you're watching for the
loved
first
you,
time.
bro.
Thank you. I was shocked.
Wenzangan.
No, I was really, really shocked. We just had a normal conversation. And I think maybe I think what happens sometimes is, with normal conversations that you watch on television that are meant to be deep, people make them so deep that people can't relate to the conversation and they can't relate to the points being made. We were actually having a genuine, honest conversation for a change instead of trying to be woke on camera. So maybe that's why people liked it. Because
absolutely.
virtue signaling on camera is so noticeable.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
I think that's why they liked it. But I'm glad it did well. I really, watching myself was horrible.
But we still don't have you on YouTube.
I know. We're working on that. We're working on that.
Oh, look at me putting you on the spot when I already know what's happening.
Exactly. It's like, what's happening now? This man's making me sink or swim. No, but I'll swim. No, we are working on something together.
And I mean, how's work?
Work has been
Are you back full time now?
back to full time.
Yeah.
Back full time. Hours have been a bit long, but I mean, it's good because you get to set your own hours. So they've been long because I need them to be. Been a bit crazy with COVID. Like last time I was here, we were on level 3, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're level 3, and now on level 1, people are kind of slowly coming back to the fray because it got hectic for quite some time. Level 3, for some reason, felt more tense than level 5. I don't know. Everyone was really impatient because they just wanted us to get to 1 already.
Yeah.
But at 5, everyone is too busy trying not to die. So we had way more patience. Level 3 was tense.
But like in all honesty, like I this is just me, people. I feel like we overreacted.
No, we did. Well, we did know at the time. 2020 is hindsight.
Yeah.
You don't want to underreact in a pandemic.
Yeah.
You don't want to go, we could have saved more lives. You'd much rather go overboard, in my opinion, and then go, we might have overdone this whole let's save people's lives thing. If there's one thing you want to overreact to, it's saving people, in my opinion.
True.
You 100%. The thing is, though, isn't the death rate at like 1 point something percent?
Yeah, that's very.
They said it's going to be 2.
it's very low, bro.
But they said from the get-go, it's going to be 2.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, it's going to be low, but 2% of 7 billion people is a lot of people.
Yeah, and but here's another thing. Let's look at not just let's take into consideration some of the people that passed away.
Yes.
Majority had underlying conditions.
They did.
So
well, I
now
mean, that's how you die from COVID.
Can we really say they died from just COVID?
No, it's, and this is what irritated me more than anything about our national response to COVID. I did not hear one person of power go, maybe we should like jog and stuff. Maybe be healthy. Because that is the only, I remember there was Dr. Fauci, the American CDC guy, said, if you have a BMI of 35, your percentage increase of dying from COVID is exceptional. But if you get a BMI of over 40, you have a 90% chance of dying. BMI. I'm not talking about like if you have some kind of underlying condition, healthy. Just if you're overweight, your rate of death with COVID is like 90%. That's all. So if you reduce the number of unhealthy people, you reduce the effects COVID can have. I did not see anyone constantly promoting getting your vitamin C, walking around, jogging, lowering your BMI, and making sure that your heart rate is stable. That is the number one cure. Forget a vaccine. All you need is just exercise and a mask, and you should be fine. What is it? A dose of prevention is way more important than a liter of like a cure.
Yeah.
Prevention needs to be the main thing, and they just didn't think about that. I just so disappointing.
And I feel like that's more proactive and then just sitting at home, being locked up and just waiting.
And then being told you can't run, which I understood. You can't be out here running around, coughing in people's mouths and stuff. But even the fact that they weren't trying to find a way to make it accessible for people to exercise. Unless you had a DSTV Explorer and they're busy recording like sessions for you, right? The average person isn't that lucky to have
But it's
that.
not everyone who can work out at home.
I know, exactly.
The running part, even with that, I feel like you'd rather take your chances doing something that could help you
They
against
could lower
COVID.
your BMI so that if you do get it, you're healthy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't know, man. Look, on our side, we definitely panicked.
Yeah.
we panicked a little bit.
And from a government side of things, like the leadership and everything is just like, I feel like their solutions are more of a, we are scared than let's come up with solutions.
Yeah.
Let's see, okay, what's the landscape like? So if you look at us right now, our economy is basically,
Yeah, it's in shambles. It was in bad shape before this. Yeah, we were in a recession before COVID. Yeah.
So, I mean, I feel like that should have been one of the main focus alongside keeping people safe.
Yeah. You can't already destroy and sabotage something that was already in life support. Our economy was already technically on life support, and you're like, nah, let's just let it die a little bit more. And we couldn't afford it then. We definitely couldn't afford it now. But I don't know. It's weird for me, man, because I get wanting to prioritize economic growth and economic whatever, but then it's people's lives at the end of the day. I don't want to be so in tune with my concept of capitalism that I kind of but capitalism also helps with people's lives too.
It's
not a
I feel like
capitalist
as humans we have too many terms
it is a
for
capitalist thing, you're right.
things.
Yeah.
Because if economy with the economy, to let's start here. In order for you to have beds available at the hospitals, you need money.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
In order for you to have people servicing or seeing to the patients that come to those hospitals, you need money.
Yeah.
And where does government get money?
It's
from tax revenue.
Yeah.
Now, if you shut down every business,
where are you going to get the revenue to pay
where are you going to get the revenue?
You can get a loan
and
then lose that money. That's always a good idea.
Exactly.
That's exactly what happened. Yeah.
And another thing is, let's be honest, the working class here in SA, we're quite young, bro.
Yeah, we are.
So those are young people. So if you see that, then those are people that you can educate.
Yeah.
So if you are transparent as a leader and you trust your people, see right here in SA, the government doesn't trust us.
Yeah, they don't think.
So that's why it's easy for them to just say, let's shut down everything.
Yeah.
You don't even want to think. Let's come up with a strategy. Let's say, okay, people of ages from 20 to 35.
Yeah.
You can proceed with work.
Yeah.
And then everyone else or anyone who has any underlying conditions,
stay home.
Stay at home.
I hear what you're saying. The only thing that the only reason why, the only pushback I could give you is the World Health Organization, the CDC. Everyone kept saying the number one thing to do is lock the country down. Like if it was our guy's idea, I'm with you.
But now we're past that point, bro.
We're past that point now. You're right.
We're here now, but we're still not seeing that type of thinking.
Yeah, no, you're right. And you can't expect someone to do something that they've never done when things were calm, when things get rough. Like if I know on the rugby field, on the football field, I'm not really the best player, to then give me the ball in the last minute and expect me to get some kind of inspiration is storytelling. It's not real life.
Yeah.
So we know what we elected. We know who are the guys who put in charge. We know what's in charge of us. We need to ask ourselves, what reason would we have to think that they can, what past experiences on being able to improvise when things get this tough do they have to make us then go, we expect this from you? I think there's a Cat Williams joke he said when they elected Obama, he said we elected a man to fly and didn't even ask to see if he has wings. That's what we do sometimes. We elect guys to ask them to fly and don't even check to see if they have wings, if they have the ability to improvise and see things through and make new provisions and new plans and new ideas. So you're right, it's disappointing. But for me, I just didn't think we were going to... I'm surprised we did the lockdown thing right. I'm proud of us that at least someone was like... Because I remember the World Health Organization was like, you guys are doing a good job. They actually called us out, like, you're doing a good job. That for me was like, I'm surprised we're in the forefront of making the right decision. Then when things unraveled, I'm like, that's more like us. I know this country. No, I know this country. I feel so much better now. Yeah. Now I feel like I'm home again, right? It's like when you're a little brother and you fight with your big brother who's always beating you up. And then one day you get the upper hand and you're just like, it's uncomfortable. And then you kind of let him get on top of you and start beginning to go, this is normal.
Yeah,
it sucks, but it's normal. I'm used to I'm better at defending myself. So that's what it felt like to me. I know it is disappointing. It still is very disappointing, but I didn't have much faith that we could go from the beginning of the pandemic to the end. And it's like every decision that was made was logically sound. Not these guys.
Mm.
No offense.
Yeah. But now I feel like it's time to change. You know,
Yeah.
it's time we do things differently.
We have to.
I mean, we've went through a period where, you know, there was high numbers of infections and all those kind of things. But like, if in all honesty, if we look at the number of deaths,
Yeah.
I'd say, like you said, we did pretty much well.
Yeah.
So let's use that and then come up with a better strategy now going forward, like in the sense of trying to bring back the economy to life. Because I'll tell you one thing about the economy, which is something that most people don't focus on. If you don't have, okay, let's say, let's look at it this way. Apparently, well, stats say crime is very high in SA. Why is that?
Because we don't have people working. It's the
Exactly.
number one cause for high crime rates is low.
So
economic growth.
what happened when we implemented the lockdown, the complete shutdown? The businesses closed.
They closed down.
So that means that's people losing
Yeah.
jobs.
Yeah.
So that's not only tax revenue that you're losing, but now you are compounding a problem that
is
you
true.
already had.
With the crime,
And you know what happens when people are hungry?
they find any which way to eat,
Exactly.
including raiding people's farms and harming. That's another thing. It's like, it's so bad that even with that, from reading the studies that I've read with the farm killings and so forth, it is speaking specifically to a heightened economic disparity on the planet. Like, you see it everywhere. In a country where everyone is poor, you very rarely see like this level of violence. But if you're going to put a mansion in front of people who are living in houses that you'd never live in, and then to expect them to keep pushing and pushing, and then when you lock the country down, stop everyone from being able to eat, and then expect them to find other avenues where they stay, it's not going to happen. They're going to turn on each other. They're going to look at the guy who's the big dude on the hill, and they're going to go to him and then find ways to eat off of that person. Because, yeah, they shouldn't do it, but have you ever been hungry enough to know that you have to? Like, to be hungry enough to know that, yeah, I know what morals say, but morals aren't going to feed me today.
True.
You do have a heightened level of these kinds of issues that we've been seeing in the last 2-3 months. I think I even found, because I would research I know I'm going off the farm thing now, like crazy, but I researched it quite a bit.
We want to get into that. That is
Yeah.
an issue that's of
Yeah.
great concern.
Because for me, it's like a cataclysm of what's happening in the country as a whole. Like, if you look at the city with the highest murder rates in Africa, it's Cape Town. Where's the highest disparity in income on the country? It's there.
Yeah.
It's not a coincidence that it's there.
Cape Flats.
Yeah, exactly.
Beach,
And then it's not because everyone in that area, they're poor. It isn't poverty. It's poverty in proximity to wealth. That's the problem. It's very hard for me to be content living how I live when on the other side of the streets, I'm seeing bright lights and an opportunity to live a much better life. It is much, much harder.
The contrast between Santin and Alex.
Crazy. And I don't know if you know this, but Alex isn't the safest place on the planet. There are some places in KZN that are much safer because the proximity between wealth and poverty is not as deepened as you would find in these areas, in these places. So you're going to find this all over the world. And again, another cataclysm of it is the farm killings. You have a person living on a lot of land that is worth millions and millions and millions. This person is a multimillionaire, as most or quite a lot of people that have their own farms tend to become. And surrounding them are some of the poorest people in the country. 90% of all farm killings, if you check the stats, there's this thing called Africa Check, are robberies. They break in and they grab whatever they can grab. And they move out with it. Whether it be a television, whether it be a cell phone, whether it even be a gun or a car or livestock, because that's money. That's what they need right now. You only minimize these things by making it easy for people not to need to do it. If the need is there, human beings will attack that need. Whether you think it's amoral or not, it's just how we are.
Yeah.
If it's a situation between me going and you going, and the reason why I need to go is because it wouldn't be nice for you to go, you're going, man.
Bro,
over for you.
I'll give you a simple example.
Yeah.
Why do animals kill each other?
Some because they want to eat.
Exactly.
Predators need to eat.
It's simple, dog.
Exactly.
It's that simple.
And then
You don't need to go anywhere.
Any further. Yeah, exactly.
It's all about food.
Yeah. If
At the end
animals
of the
could
day.
find a nicer way to get the meat from you, they wouldn't kill you, but they kind of, they don't have thumbs. We got that. And even we kill them like crazy.
They can't even negotiate.
They
with
can't.
you
They
know.
don't have the skills to. And even if they did, it wouldn't work out. So
Exactly.
you're right. It's a very sad reality that faces most of the people in this country. And it's one of those things where either you help mitigate and solve the issue, or you keep complaining, like we said last time, right? If you're a person of wealth and privilege and you do not like the farm killings, you do not like what you're saying, what are you doing, or what are you trying to implement in this country specifically to make the solution a permanent one? Because you're not going to get a temporary one at this. This is going to keep happening.
And you know what I don't like? It's there's one thing that we need to come to terms with as far as South Africa is concerned, is that whether you are black, you are white, you are Indian, at the end of the day, you reside in South Africa.
Exactly.
Whether you are African or not, or you're not from here, at the end of the day, that does not matter. That does not help us move forward.
It doesn't.
So we can sit here the whole day and argue and say, we'll have the, I'll use an example. So we can have the black people saying, the white people stole our land, and we'll have the white people saying, no, we've been here, we bought the land, and we worked the land, and we nurtured it, and all those kind of things. So we can argue the whole night. But at the end of the day, there's still tomorrow.
Exactly.
And most of us have families here. We have loved ones here. We have young kids where you might have the power to pick up a gun and go shoot your enemy or fight or whatever and argue. But that child, they can't do that.
They can't do that.
And those are the people who will suffer more because the adults are so content on fighting instead of finding a solution.
You know what it is?
And in order for us to find the solution, there has to be a compromise from both sides.
I was just about to say.
Or all sides, not both. Let's not make it from everyone. There has to be a compromise. So whether you are a person with vast amounts of land and you've worked with, fine, we accept that.
Yeah, no one's fighting you.
But at the end of the day, you can't tell me it's realistic that you got chunks of land and the people living around you have nothing and you expect to live in peace.
There's no way.
There's no ways.
There's no way. What is it? Don't you feel uncomfortable just eating around people that aren't eating? Like you go to your kitchen, you grab your food, you sit, and you're about to chow, but everyone is just sitting there. Don't you just feel like, okay, you should offer them what I've got? Like even I know, being raised, you don't eat when I'm not eating. If people come to visit you in your home, you can't be out here, they go, guys, sit on the couch, watch TV, and then just sit and start eating away. You offer them what you can. It's just common decency. And also, there's a certain level of discomfort that I'm enjoying this thing by myself that other people could also be using and working with. And I'm telling you, you're not going to live a comfortable life if you think you're going to be able to live in excessive wealth in proximity to increasing poverty. It's just not going to be. It's not going to be a good time. It isn't going to be a good time for you. And that's what you're seeing. And people are going to want to make this something else. They're wrong. You have to sometimes tell people when they're wrong. They're wrong. There are moments where it does become a very large race issue. But nine of the farmers that have been taken out in this country are black. The farm thing is a white thing only because that's where the proximity of farms are placed. But outside of that, it is a poverty thing. It is I'm poor and you seem to have everything I need to make it to tomorrow. Not till the next 10 years, just for tomorrow. And from you, I need to get what I need to get to live my life, to feed my kids. I'm sorry, it's going to get really rough for you. I don't want it to. I hope it didn't need to get to this, but it's going to have to get to this. Because guess what, guy that lives on that gigantic farm surrounded by people that are poor, you've chosen yourself. They're going to do the same thing. You cannot expect to be the only person allowed to be selfish. Because taking a man's life for your own financial benefit is extremely selfish.
Yes.
But you can't start pointing to them and go, this is the selfish act, when you are living in proximity to poor people, a luxurious life. You're just as selfish. You're selfish too. And it can't be like, well, my selfishness doesn't harm anyone. It doesn't take a life. And then yours does, when in actual fact, they can tell you about all the times where they've lost their lives. They've lost their livelihoods, their families, because of your level of selfishness, your hoarder mentality. And again, not to all people that own farms, this is what I'm saying. But I'm saying that's what it looks like to the people that are committing these acts. It's what it looks like to guys like me that knows exactly how much wealth comes from agriculture in this country and how little of that wealth is distributed amongst most people. You're going to have a problem. If you choose to be selfish, do not be surprised when another person chooses to use their selfishness against you. Just Find a way to work with people when you've got more, and it'll make it easy for yourself to be comfortable with the amount that you've got.
See, that's what I'm saying.
Be
It does.
selfish, never
This thing doesn't even have to be a government issue.
It does, and it just needs to be a citizen's thing.
Let's say if I was a farm owner, this is how I envision this. I mean, you'd want to encourage the people that are working with you. This whole thing working for.
Yeah.
I know it's fact, but I think that's where the whole thing starts.
Starts there. Yeah, it starts there.
We know what it means when a black man says or white man says I'm working. This black man is working for me.
Yeah.
That type of
the certain level of treatment
situation.
also that you see from that.
Exactly.
One white
so
guy in a
it
van.
starts from simple things like that. Let's change those things and bring in respect.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you're right.
If you want to see change, you got to do things differently.
Yeah, exactly.
You cannot come with the same mentality that your forefathers had, because the times that you live in and the times that they lived in are not the same.
And the people that you're dealing with are not the same. We're very little patience now. Our patience has run out thin. We've given quite a long rope to be civil as we can be. Like there's you can see a jump in tension between black and white people in this country from 2000 to 2020. Like things were there were surveys done. I don't know. I've never been surveyed, but there's always surveys being done of do South Africans think that we're going to be okay in the future and that we're going to be fine as a nation? And during the 2000s, it was like, yeah. As we get further and further to the 2020s, it's like, no. And the only reason is because, at least from my perspective and from my own personal feeling, we're tired of hoping people that should change are going to change. We thought you would want to, but you don't want to. We come up with a concept and an idea to empower people of color in the workspace, but then you hire those who are unqualified to complain about the structure. You're doing all these self-sabotaging things. It's like when you ask someone to do something and they don't want to do it, like, hey, can you please go move this table for a minute here? And they go, oh, and they just drag it. And it's like, oh, they're making noise. That's what it feels like.
Why?
It feels like this thing that is obviously going to make the country a much better place to live is being handled like it's a hassle, like it's a headache instead of an opportunity.
Yeah.
And we're all feeling that way now. That's why tensions between our people, and particularly people of color, white people and black, is rising, because there's a group of us who feel like we've been waiting for some people to come to the party. They don't want to come to the party. It's fine. We'll make it happen. And when that happens, then Umuntu goes, whoa, what's going on? Why are we all of a sudden getting aggressive? What's up? It's like 20 years is a long time to wait for someone just to kind of meet you halfway. If you don't want to meet us halfway, we'll go the full distance. And that's an aggressive move. It's going to be a bit aggressive. So
can I just
flimsy.
I just want to add something to what you're saying. If we look at things, I feel like, okay, someone else who might have been listening to this conversation, they might be saying, this guy is there. But let's turn this whole thing around, and look at it from the black people's perspective. If we're being honest, we don't really need civil war.
We don't want to go
right now. There's so much poverty here that if we get into a situation where now there's civil war in this country, it's certainly not going to end well for everyone, but it's certainly going to be worse for black people.
Exactly, because that's who's going to be fighting.
Because after the war, let's say the war, even if we do go to that war, I'm just hypothetically, I'm not insisting on this. After that, what are we going to have?
Yeah, we're going to get sanctioned.
We know for one, we don't have money.
Yeah, we're going to get sanctioned, first of all.
Exactly.
People are going to pull out economically who were involved in the country. People are going to take sides and make it a massacre on one day and a civil war.
And that's how you bring in foreign governments into this land, and then they're interfering.
And then the next thing you know, you're kind of starting from scratch, and you had quite a good foundation and or basis. You're right. You don't want to go down a road that we worked so well to avoid. But it almost seems as though we're pushing ourselves closer and closer to it. We're still far from it. I still think at this rate, it'll take another 50 years of this before we can get into a civil war situation, in my honest opinion. Because, we're tense, but no one knows how to calm down and have some fun and just joke around like South Africans can. For all the gifs and memes and trends and good times we're having, we're so far from picking up a knife and fighting someone that I think we're okay, but you don't want to start to play with the idea that you might be going down that road. Nip that in the bud early, find out exactly how other countries fell down that hole, bury that hole. Just put all the sand in the world, cement it if you need to, stay away from it, and then find a new path to success. Because we have a very unique opportunity, being the youngest or one of the youngest democracies on the planet and in Africa, to find a different course of action. Africa is riddled with the history of civil wars. Most African countries, when European nations left, went into a civil war. It happened in most of them. It happened in DRC. It happened in Nigeria, which I did not know about. It happens all the time. Because when there's a power vacuum, people want to fill that vacuum. And then they get violent about who's going to fill that vacuum. It happens all the time. Even the States, after they moved the British out of the way, they immediately went into a civil war about slavery. They fought. They fought. So you don't want to go down that road. But I think we've been really good at being able to transition peacefully from having a person oppress us to the extent where the whole world came to stop the oppression, and then kind of learn to live together. But it's almost like, I don't know, living with an ex because you don't have the money to pay for your new apartment. Yeah. It's tense.
I have a question for both of us.
Yeah.
Hey, that's the first one. A question for myself as well. Do we really need, is it logic to implement what do they call it? Compensation, transfer of land without compensation.
Yeah. Land distribution without compensation.
Yeah.
Land expropriation without compensation.
Land expropriation without compensation.
Okay.
Is it logic?
Mm-hmm.
Is it logic to say, okay, we have Mr. Fantoner somewhere who owns a farm. It's been producing food, whether it's being sold at Checkers, ShopRite, wherever, but they're contributing not only to the economy of the country, but they're also feeding the country. Is it logic to say, hey, Mr. Fantoner, we're taking this away?
So I'm laughing because I have a really good friend who's a Fantoner. So I know he's going to be listening.
It's just an example. I'm not saying
not you, bro. But yeah.
No offense to all the Fantoners in South Africa. I'm just making an example here. So is it logical to say we are taking your land because it was you acquired it during
it's stolen goods
of oppression.
It's stolen goods. Yeah. That's what I call it. It's stolen goods. Yeah. No, it doesn't. There's no logic.
There's no logic.
In
all honesty,
there is none. But from what I understand, they've specifically exempt commercial farming land from the land expropriation or compensation. That's what I was reading I read it's called like a green sheet, like the piece of paper that they put before the legislation goes up. And they were very adamant in making sure that they exempt like land that's helping feed the people in the country. There's a lot of dormant land, however, in this country that isn't doing anything except just accumulating interest and accumulating like how much it's going to be worth when it gets sold off. That's the land that they want to expropriate it. That's at least from what I got. So you're right. There's no logic behind it. But from what I've seen, I don't think they're going that route. If they are going that route, it is the dumbest thing you can possibly do. Because no matter how, I always make this a car. A car is always my favorite analogy. I don't care how much you fix my car. If my car was stolen, it's my car.
Yeah.
You can't tell me about how you put spinning rims and a tinted window
you change the
seats and the stereo. It's my car. At the same rate, though, giving me my car when I can't drive is also kind of dumb. Like, that is my car.
What you going to do with it?
I'm going to crash it immediately.
Yeah.
I'm going to get into my own vehicle. That's my car. But because I don't know how to drive and I don't know how the road works and I don't have a license or whatever you might need to get a car working, I'm going to crash the car. I'm going to damage the vehicle, the thing that I'm fighting so extensively to have. And there are some people that always say, I love this thing whenever you bring up like how we're going to do this properly. They say, fine, no, you're going too far. Give us our land, we'll decide what to do with it. Yeah, I'm seeing the logic behind your argument, but you're going too far. Give it to us and then we'll make a plan. Yeah. I'm not we'll get to that bridge when we will cross that bridge when you get there guy. I need to have a plan. So you're right. It doesn't make sense, but I'm hoping we're not going down that road.
Yeah.
I'm hoping we're exempting like farms and people that are actually making money through agriculture, or at least to a certain extent. And if we're not, we have a different plan for getting that transition to happen outside of just, grab and drop. Because I ate today.
Because my biggest problem is if you take away this land from somebody who's been producing something out of it and you just, say, see where you go, I'm taking this away. What are you going to do with it?
Well, I mean,
let's be honest. Thina odaki fethu sivela pha ngisho ukwenza ingadi fethu.
Yeah.
A garden. A garden which can limit your expenses, number one.
Yeah.
Two, improve your health because you are producing your own food.
Yeah. It isn't mass-produced, factory-based.
You understand?
Products, yeah.
So just those small principles of running a small garden, I understand. Even when it comes to building, dog, like, Taki, we've left. Okay, before I say this, let me just say this. Let me start here. In life, you have two functions as a human being.
Sure.
Well, not two functions, but like two priorities: shelter and food. Everything else is a bonus.
Yeah.
Whether you clothe, if you're naked, you can still live because you have shelter and food.
Yeah.
So everything else is just a bonus. So if you say to me, if you look at us black people, we leave places in the rural areas, Emakai, and we come to the city. What do? Sakumkuku. You left vast amounts of land, Emakai, and you hear
Yeah.
You could have survived there.
Yeah.
On that vast amount of land, and what I said, ingadi.
Yeah.
You know?
That's true. No, that's a good point.
Ungaba nengadi bese uyafuya.
Yeah.
You are sorted for food.
Yeah. No, that's true, man. That's a very good point. And I'm thinking about it now.
But yet we want acres and acres of land.
And we can't do with the little bit that we have. That's a good point. That is a good point.
There's so many people, bro, who don't want to go back in Makaya.
Yeah.
In Makaya, it means households get shut down. Like, big households.
I think the only thing I can say numerically is, look, I haven't met everyone in the country. I haven't even met half the people in KZN. What am I saying? I haven't even met half the people in I don't know all the people. So I know my circle is very bad agriculturally. I do know some guys who farm and whatnot. Caucasians make up 8% of this country. Not all white people farm, which means let's say 1% of white people farm. That's 1% of 8%. You don't need a lot of us to like farming. It can really be the smallest and most minute percentage, and we should still be fine, right? Because with them, they're in that space and they only make up 8% of the population, but they don't even make up most of who they are. So we don't need a lot of us to get good at that idea of being able to farm. We just need one guy that thinks like you, a guy that wants to get in that space and wants to cultivate that. But because we have so many people, just by having maybe 1 in 10 black people that think about farming as a real profession, you can have an excessive amount of people, 5 million potential farmers.
But like once you have that land, that's who you're gonna need to be.
You're gonna need to be that guy. Oh, you're right. I think I'm not gonna. Here's one thing I know for a fact: when it's time to expropriate, I'm not gonna get any because I don't know what to do with it. I don't want that. Like I would like to have it, but to do what with that land? I know that I'm hoping that when it comes time to, and I don't know how they're gonna delegate who gets what. That's also worried me from the get-go. Like I've always thought it was funny that a group of people that we can't trust with paper money, we're then gonna go, here's all the land. Hope you spread this right. Like that scares me. Like that, but to finish off the point, knowing that is the case, I'm hoping that whoever gets it and whoever's going to be delegated to have it are the very few, which would be the very many because of how large we are, that do have a passion and an ability to actually grab the land and cultivate it. But again, I'm just hoping. Like it's just hope, and I hate hope.
Can I add something? Yeah. Here's another thing that's happening in SA. In SA, you get government officials who will ask for a bribe from a black farmer, so that they can get the necessary support for them to execute on the land that they've been given.
Yeah.
So now I ask you again: is expropriation without compensation logic for the long run?
It depends.
Because the very people who are pushing the agenda,
they're kind of sneaky.
Exactly, bro. Like it's like, why you pushing for black people to get land only so that you can
put your foot in there too. Look, the truth of the matter is, you are 100%. I get what you're saying, and I agree with you. It doesn't seem like it's they're not good at it. Like there's a moment where you have to go, oh no, this isn't your thing. Like you can't put me at lock and then expect me to do a good job. And if I get lucky, yeah, then maybe. But if I don't, then you go, let's move him and put him somewhere where he might be good. When it comes to that, being able to hold off on grabbing an excessive amount of money for your own personal gain, our guys struggle. And again, you're making a very good point. If you think losing 500 billion shouldn't be something that happens, when you're talking about land, the thing that builds itself more than this thing feeds itself. If you think these dudes are going to be able to hold off skimming this, I don't know where you've been. If they can't even hold off from 100K here, 200K there, they got to get a piece. They got to get a piece of just paper money that they can't even put in a bank account because it's going to be traceable and taxed. If they can't hold off of that, if the hunger to hold off of doing that to people is too strong, what happens when you say, here's a lot of land that's going to benefit your family for hundreds and hundreds of years? You think they're going to go, well, I mean, I know we're not good at being at giving you the cash you need to live the life you want, but the land should be fine. Where are you getting this hope from? Like, I don't understand where this trust is coming from. Like, if they had a great reputation of getting and giving, boom, 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 then you give that guy that project. But if every single time they get, it stands, and then they go, sorry, we got to get more, and then they get, and then it gets little by little, and then you go, here's something bigger. How's about you also get the land? Do you really think that land is going to come out?
No.
Not in its entirety. Not with these guys. They haven't given us a reason to trust it's going to happen. But I just hope that they do. I'm genuinely hoping.
I seriously think it's high time we see a new brand of politicians and a new brand of South African politics.
Yeah.
Because, this thing, yeah, my comrades, I got it, bro. I'm through with that.
I'm not Russian, bro.
I'm through.
I didn't grow up in the Soviet Union. I don't know why we're comrades in this country.
I'm through.
I
get it, the comrades fought and what. You can say the reason I'm sitting here is because of the blood of the... In fact, you're right. You're 100% right.
Kudos.
The blood. Anyone who didn't leak blood for that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Now you're chowing and we're starving and it's people getting just damaged and harmed and their lives are being just destroyed to an insane degree. Look, the problem with us politically in this country is we don't do politics in a way that's going to bring about change. We pick political parties like how we pick football teams.
Yeah.
That's how we pick political parties. Those are my dudes. In a bad season,
they get hammered 8-0.
8-0 and you go, but still, because our guy was injured, because of this, because of that. Here's how much...
You just say, fire the coach.
Exactly, fire the coach, move this around, find someone to blame, but don't
the
go
results
to the
are still the same.
Let me tell you how much we in this country treat politics like football. Where do we hold our rallies?
It's
Hold them in
stadiums.
stadiums, bro. Everyone wearing the colors of the... You don't see that in too many places. The colors of the actual party as opposed to being dressed in a normal space and just going, I want to hear what you have to say. You already have your supporter's jersey on when you're in the stadium. The stadium needs to look like it's a home game. That's what it needs to look like. People are very stingy when it comes to changing their football teams. And if you're implementing that same kind of philosophical thinking and implementation with your political party, you can have the exact same problem, getting people to go, yeah, not these guys, I'll go with these guys. Yeah, not these guys, I'll go with these guys. It's tough to convince people that maybe their guys aren't the best guys for the job for the next 4 years. We'll give them the 4 years afterwards, but for the next 4, I think we should go here, and they don't think they're going to go there. Let's just swap and change. It's like, nah, that's my team. So I know we need more political change, but it's going to be very difficult when we're still filling up stadiums with our team's jerseys and rooting for our parties like they're our teams.
Yeah.
That's where I think I want this, but I don't think it's going to happen. Not anytime soon.
This is my ideal president. This is just me and my fictional mind. My next president is I have a few questions. Number 1, where you from? Number 2, let's see the people where you from, how they living. Because if you at a point where you're running for office to be a president,
you've been a mayor somewhere, for example.
Yeah, that means you've held certain positions on your way there.
Yeah.
So I want to see how many people's lives have you changed and have you helped and have you bettered and have you improved.
That's a good point.
Especially from where you're from. Because if you can't do shit for the people next door from where you grow up, there's no way you're going to do things
community.
For me.
And I'm glad you're making a distinction. How many people's lives you've changed. Not how good the city is. Don't give me that, well, look at how nice Cape Town is. It's been nice.
Yeah.
It's been nice.
That's where the Europeans first landed.
Yeah, it's been dope. Don't look at me like, look, Cape Town's fine. Go away. It's been fine.
Yeah.
But what have you done for me lately? Type thing. What's happening so far in these areas? That's a very good point. I would like someone with a reputation of being able to be successful elsewhere take the helm.
Like programs, dog. Like now, hey, okay, I'm not running for president. Okay, I'm just making an example. I've got training sessions that I give on a regular weekly basis every Monday to Wednesday, Friday. Yeah, at same time, same place. People don't pay me. That's my time.
Yeah,
and I'm sacrificing because I want the people around me to be healthy and have access. So those who can't afford gym, they can come and train for free.
Yeah,
and I'm not the best at, but I know because I've been training for an extensive number of years.
Yeah.
So I have some experience and I have some knowledge and I've been doing some research so I can share some knowledge. And I've shared it. Some people used it and it worked.
Yeah.
So programs like that, like you need to be somebody that initiates things in order for you to run the country that I live in. I feel like that's how every South African should look at people that are running for president.
Can I ask you a question? It's a very controversial question. It's something that I read. Plato. I think it was Plato, or it was, I'm trying to remember who the philosopher was, because I think Plato wrote the books, but I'm forgetting who it was now. It might have been Aristotle, but it's one of the two. Was against the concept of like an open democracy. And what he was saying was, anyone being able to vote is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm asking this because his idea was, if umuntu that has no understanding of what the function of a particular person's job is allowed to then hire that person, should we really be surprised when that job isn't being done properly? I'm not going to be asked to pick the CEO of ESCOM because I don't know anything about what he has to do and who he is and where he's coming from and where he's been. I don't know jack. So no one's ever going to ask me. So if we live in a country where people aren't being asked to prove, if they at least have an understanding of what the president's job is or what the mandate the president has is, does it make sense to let everyone just know it's a free-for-all? Because you can't even drive without having some kind of identification and proof that you know how to drive. But you can vote without having to prove that you know what you're doing when you're voting. So I'm asking you this question because I've been back and forth on it for a long time. Do you think that everyone should be allowed to vote? Or do you think we should be in a space where you write an entrance exam once in 4 years? Simple stuff. What does the president do? What does this minister do? What does that minister do? Multiple choice, tick, 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 tick. Now that you've proven that at least you know what their jobs are, you can start picking them to do that job. Does that make more sense than, you know what, you live here, you get to pick? Like,
I know where we can.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're
I'm asking
right.
The question. What do you think?
No. That is a right method to go about. Actually, I was going to say the method that we're using now essentially is not right. But at the same time, freedom is for everyone.
Exactly.
You want everyone to have an opinion. You want everyone to partake. So this goes back to one of the systems that we have, which is not functioning. It's not serving us as a country well, which is education system.
Yeah.
So this is things that you could rubber stamp at a very early age in primary school, so that Ingane understands what a minister of health is supposed to do.
So instead of aloe being a subject of like, don't get AIDS, which is basically what it is, make it about prevention of illnesses and diseases, and then also teaching young people at least what their government does.
Exactly.
And then putting them in a space where they have to write an exam about what the minister's job is, about what the president's job is, about what a budget is, what the importance of all the things that make for a good voting base. Make that a part of like life orientation. And I mean, already you have to pass LO in order to go through the next grade. Just add those subjects as a part of life orientation. That might be better. That's actually a better example. That's way better than I am.
Yeah, bro.
That's a way better. I like that. I wish we could do it. I wish we could add these things in there, but I don't see it happening.
We see all those kind of things. It's because it's like we're too stuck in the soccer team mentality.
I thought about that term and I was like,
elections are gonna come. For the past 4 years in South Africa, well, not 4 years. When did Ramaphosa's term start?
He was campaigning CR17, so I think he's officially started in 2018.
Yeah.
He
came in with high promise. Fine, people will say, first term, but it shouldn't be like that.
Yeah.
This is the new South Africa.
It's the game.
this is the new South Africa. So
Yeah.
if you come in, before you, there was corruption. You told us, you came out and said there's corruption.
Cleaning all this up.
Yes, I see the commission. But when I watch that thing, it's like, my money is paying for that thing to run, but no one is getting arrested.
That's
no
true.
no one is paying back the money that's been exploited.
It's a snitchathon. That's what I call it.
Yeah,
It's like, it wasn't just me, bro. You were there too. It wasn't me.
I
It
don't
was him. And
remember.
it's like, oh my gosh, there's so much snitching happening, and then nothing happens. And I think you're right. You're right. But continue. Carry on.
And it's because of such things that we become comfortable with just anything.
Have you ever heard of what is called security theater?
No.
Which is what they do in certain airports where they'll like pat you down. And what they found was if you actually paid someone to try to get something into the airplane, they'd actually get it in like 9 times out of 10. But the idea that something is being done about it made people feel safe. That's what the commission and many other things that we're doing feel like. It feels like at least they're doing something. And then everyone just goes, it's fine, we're fixing the problem. But if you actually had to ask yourself, is something being actually done about this? Then yes, might be hard to come by. Well, I mean, we say this now, but the Hawks have been going at it.
Hey.
So maybe things are changing because they're coming for everyone.
Yeah.
I'm looking at how I make money normal 9 to 5 and I'm worried.
Yeah.
I don't do anything. I'm like, am I?
Are
Should
they
I be
gonna
worried?
pay me a visit?
Are they going to pay? Are they going to knock on my
Boy,
door?
how are you making this podcast?
Like, I don't know, bro. Where are you getting all this camera equipment from, bro? It's like, I don't know. Tiny help. Start panicking. Like, they're going crazy. So, I mean, we can say they might be doing the right thing, and is this commission really helping? But in all honesty, give credit where credit is due. It does seem like we're implementing this Hawks structure back in a way that everyone seems like they're in trouble. Bushiri was in trouble the other day. And I can't say that I danced, but damn it, I danced. I spun on the table, I was breakdancing, I was like doing the worm. I will tell anyone that needs to know about the dislike I have for that particular individual. So at least I'm seeing real change happening.
And anyone like him.
Yeah, anyone like him. Like I always think, and this is going to sound controversial, if you're the kind of person to take away a person's ability to hope and use hope as a means to enrich yourself, you are the worst person. Like I get when people are in a bad place because, life is tough, the world is cruel. If you then use their hope to be better as a means to keep them in a bad space but enrich yourself, worst of the worst.
True.
And that guy is the worst of the worst. So at least they're going after guys like that. They're kind of aiming their attention towards people that the rest of us have been going, what about this guy?
What about this guy?
What about this guy? The guy right next to me. What about this guy? Now they're arresting those guys. So I do want to say, I don't know, it might seem like it's theater, but hey man, they're making some strides.
But still, like the main people are the people in positions in government offices.
That we need to move.
That's because
move
that's
the
where
mistakes.
everything that we do in the country, everything that we do, that's where everything ends.
That's true.
That's where the buck stops.
That is true.
If we're not fixing that or taking the necessary, I see, like these are minor steps. Fine, start the commission, point the fingers, people snitch. But the real action comes when people are being held accountable.
Yeah.
And to start off with, if I was the president and you are anywhere associated with all of this looting and misuse of funds, of state funds, my boy, go chill at home. Go chill. We don't need your energy
We don't
right
need that
now.
energy there.
Because there's elections coming up. If I want to win the elections, I don't need your bad energy around me.
So you're assuming that people finding out about these things would change how they vote, though.
It should. That's how it should.
But will it?
That's how it should be.
I know, 100%.
I know. I'm
Will it?
hopeful. I'm hopeful, Will.
Okay. Well, again,
hopeful.
Football mentality.
I'm hoping our people sizovuka and stop voting. Engathi sivoteli Chiefs uthingene kwi-Telkom Charity Cup. Come on, those days are over. Even Telkom Charity Cup, it's no longer existent.
Yeah, exactly.
We're living in new times.
Yeah.
Information. When we are the one thing that we like to do, like South Africa, is focus on other people's issues.
That is true. We're so good at that.
and when we do that, the one thing that we miss to do is learn.
That's true. Oh,
Is
learning from
like-
other people's mistakes?
Yeah.
We are the worst. We are the worst. This thing called American exceptionalism, where they do that. I think we do that too. South Africa, for some reason, thinks that what's happening around the world, and specifically in Africa, can't happen here.
Yeah.
And
The
I don't get it.
The SARS thing, bro.
That's crazy. That is crazy. When I saw the young people actually getting shot and killed, it broke my heart. Like, I saw someone actually like bleeding to death. That was heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking. And I don't know. Wait, here's what pisses me off about the SARS thing. How many people do you think retweeted or tweeted the end SARS thing?
And bro, everyone.
Would
On my timeline, I was seeing that.
Would it have not been more helpful if maybe every single person who not tweet, still tweet, but maybe just tagged our 3 major parties at least? At least so that it isn't just your Instagram and Facebook that are full with these NSARS things, but it's their personal timelines where people are going, hey, you, the guy that I'm going to vote for, what are you going to do about SARS? Tag them and then send it through. And then give them a chance to either ignore you or tell you what they're trying to do. I'm not saying that they need to do something about it, but raising awareness for what to happen. What's the idea? Is the idea for our guys who are in charge to get involved? If so, tag them, for God's sake. They have Twitter. At least call them out for ignoring you, then make it seem as though you've done something by just screaming into the air. Like, I can't really convince myself that I'm lighting up this area if I walk in with a flashlight. And I go, well, I've got my light. If I wasn't here, it'd be dark. No, it wouldn't. There's already a light here. We already have a light beaming down on us. Don't make your voice just an additional light to an already lit room. Focus it somewhere. Like, I know maybe you want a crazy, twisted kid like I was, but when you had a magnifying glass as a lighty, you're like pressing towards something, right? If the magnifying glass isn't like aiming at something, it just kind of flashes all over the place. But when you focus that magnifying glass, because you're an evil little kid, you burn that ant. You focus the heat, and it actually starts to have an impact. Just from focusing the sun's rays, you can actually have a much larger impact than just shining a light on the ant. Ant just keeps moving if you shine the light. But if you switch the angle, you can at least do something that you wouldn't have been able to do if it's this way. Right now, all of us, we're just shining a light. And it's going, man, hope something happens sometime. And it never does. Those girls went missing. We spoke about this. Have we found them? I'm not sure if we found them.
I'm not sure.
That slave thing that happened where it came out that was it Libya?
Libya.
Do we know what's happened with those dudes? I don't know.
Probably that's still going on.
It is still going on because human trafficking is actually slavery, but we just use different terminologies and different phrases for it now. But all of this awareness has led to this. So why are you doing this? If it's for yourself, admit it.
Can I point out another weird thing out of this whole situation? Is that some of the people who were saying end SARS, blah blah blah, what's going on in Nigeria is wrong, are the very people that want to kill Nigerians
Very
here in SA.
xenophobic. Yeah.
It's like
Extremely
super xenophobic.
Yeah, and intensely xenophobic. Yeah.
But now now in all honesty, as a Nigerian person, can I really believe that you
South
are
Africans
for
really
me
care about me and my life when they're always aiming for me and my life?
when I'm there with them
Like,
in
what,
their
are South
land?
Africans mad that they're not the ones shooting us? Do they want them? What? Are you jealous? Because that's what it seems like with some of these guys. Like, no, only we need to be the ones attacking you. Because that's what it feels like with some of these guys. But that's how you know that this isn't doing anything. That umuntu that doesn't even really care can join. If someone that doesn't care about your movement can join your movement has no real feet. People can't piggyback on ideologies that are supposed to bring about change without changing themselves. But if umuntu can lay a hashtag and still hate a Nigerian, it means that hashtag is useless. It's proof that it is useless. So stop just throwing them out there. Direct them. Aim them towards someone, towards something, and then you will see change, or you might see change. And if you don't, you can hold someone accountable. 3 months ago, 100,000 tweets went to Cyril, for example, about SARS, and he said nothing. We'll keep that in mind.
Yeah.
That has way more impact than just...
You know what that says to me? It says to me, if that shit was happening right here,
I don't trust you anymore.
If you can't even talk about it.
Reference it, bring it up, and say what's happening
and
on that side is wrong.
What's happening in Nigeria is wrong.
Is wrong. If you can't even do that, then how much more, if it had to start happening here, would I expect you to step up and do something about it? Exactly.
Because let's be honest, what can stop that from happening? It has happened.
Exactly.
It happened under the apartheid government.
Exactly.
It can happen again.
It can happen again. I'm telling you, nothing about the way we go about trying to create change is creating the change we want. And watching people pat themselves in the back, myself included sometimes, for doing the bare minimum, right? What feels like assistance is upsetting, because when you do the right thing, whatever it is, you get a chemical fix. Something hits you in your brain and goes, oh, you did a good job today.
Yeah.
Like there's a bit of a dopamine effect that hits you. I think we spoke about this last time.
Yeah.
If you're giving yourself a full-on dopamine fix from doing the bare minimum, you're not going to have any incentive to do what you need to make change. So yeah, let's keep pushing these things forward, but in a way that really creates change. Because it's been, 2 weeks now?
Yeah.
And it's gotten worse.
It's getting worse.
NSARS was bad a week ago. It's horrid now.
And you know what I saw? Even on, I think, Instagram, if people were that picture with the Nigerian flag with blood? And it was flagged as fake news.
Yeah. I saw that.
I'm like, why is anyone not
talking
saying
about
that?
The fact
that
not, yeah.
This cause that I just sent a tweet out about is being flagged as fake news.
Yeah.
And address that. If you really, really care about SARS,
find out if what
you have to be invested and look at all sides and everything that's happening within and around that situation. But no, obviously, because you don't care, you were just doing it so you can be part of the
It's really
gang.
painful when a society uses people's misery and suffering as a conversation starter. That sucks. When someone dying somewhere is an opportunity for you to have a convo at the dinner table, it's really painful because they're going through something. They're not trying to feed you and your ability to create content. I know I'm saying this while we're talking about this on a podcast, but that's the part that I'm most hurt by. I know what it feels like when another country decides we're done talking and we're going to implement. It's very hard for us to have the transition we had to end apartheid without the global sanctions, without everyone going, we're going to shut your tap out and starve you out until you have a fair election. It's intensely difficult because we've been trying ourselves, fighting for decades. But the moment the rest of the world said, nah, we're going to do something, not talk, but do something, that's when the change started to be rampant and we started to have those elections. So I know what it's like. Well, I don't know because I was 1 year old, but I have heard of the importance of real action being implemented to create real change. And I would just hope that this generation doesn't make the mistake of thinking we can find a new way and an easier way to do the really hard job of changing people's lives. It's not easy. Either get involved or stay out of it. But to pretend to spread awareness to something that has hundreds of thousands of people tweeting about it as though it's going to do something, that part for me, it's like, because, okay, spread awareness. Can I ask you a question? All these tweets, all these things, what's the plan? Are they hoping that the government goes, oh, you need to stop? Is that the hope? Because maybe that's something. Yeah. Maybe you think the government's going to be too scared you're exposing.
They're going to see your tweets.
See your tweets and go, that's a lot of people mad. Is that what they're hoping is going to happen? Are they hoping that maybe your government can get involved? Because if that's the case, tag them. Are you hoping that you can call people out and then get the international community involved in sanctioning them? Because if that's the case, tag them. But this version of it, this just let's see what happens version, what are you hoping is going to happen by spreading the awareness? If someone can tell me, then fine, I'll step back and I'll also hash out those tweets and make those posts and feel good, but I don't feel good. Like I put out a picture, but mine was like of all the people that were on the front lines and I was like, let's go, you guys are doing the thing. It sucks that you guys are getting killed. I wish I was there to help. I'm sad that I can't help. But I didn't walk away feeling like I had spread awareness. I walked away like just feeling like at least I did the bare minimum and I'm hoping that I can find a way to do more. That I was honest with myself. Wow. It wasn't nice.
Man, hey, shit, look at the time.
What have we passed? I passed the time already.
Yeah, we almost out of time. Man, in any case, I just like to, I can't imagine, whenever these situations are going on in other places, I just, I try and picture that happening here. Yeah. How life would be for me, and it's not the way to live. It's not. So I really hope and pray for the people of Nigeria and any way where there's civil conflict.
Have you heard anything from the African Union?
No.
I mean,
maybe I don't watch the news.
But it should have gotten to you. It should have been so loud.
Yeah, that everyone should have retweeted that.
Do you get what I'm saying? Like if they're saying something but can't even get to the point where people that aren't paying attention can hear it. We have a whole union of African countries, and we don't even know if they've made a statement.
Like African leaders, every African country has a president. I haven't even. If we get like 10 presidents making a statement, a
Condemning
press
what's
release,
happening, at least. Not seeing
that's
it.
worth something.
Not seeing it, man. And if it's happening, it's not getting to the people, which is just as bad. It's just as bad. I don't know, man. It just, like I said at the beginning of this in this episode, expecting people to do something that they've never done starts to be your fault. At some point, it's our fault.
True.
We can't keep asking for them to be better than they are.
Mpendulo, just a quick one before we
Sure.
kill this thing. You have a new podcast that you started
Yes.
outside the 9 to 5.
Yes.
Two episodes, yeah?
One.
One.
I'm working on the
one.
second one now. Yeah.
One had a dope guest.
Yeah, she was
I really
great.
liked her.
She was great. She was amazing.
What's her name?
I think it's Kami's. That's how I have it on my.
Let's just make sure.
Yeah.
We don't wanna
I'm
butcher people's-
intensely Zulu. So friends, I just know our names, dog.
We don't want to butcher people.
Yeah, we don't want to butcher people's names.
Oh,
But it was a
it's-
great.
It's Kamogelo Mobai.
Yes, Kamogelo. She was amazing.
She produces Kenna butter.
Yes. It's like I'm sorry, Kamogelo, because I'm male and I don't use the lotion for my face and whatever. But it's a cannabis-based it's a cannabis-based product that is like a lotion, kind of helps with skincare, but she uses like the actual cannabis plant too. She grinds it down and she uses that to actually help people. And it was a great conversation about entrepreneurship, the things that she's gone through, dealing with being an entrepreneur with a country with such a high tax bracket and a quick entry level to tax. Because some countries you're making a little bit more. You start paying tax by $6,000 here in this country.
Over $5,000.
Over $5,000, exactly. So other countries give you a little bit more leeway. So we spoke about that for a while. We spoke about the Cannabis for Personal Consumptions Act, which is a joke of an act. It's horrible. Like they're just finding new ways to arrest people. Like you can get up to 4 years if you're caught smoking marijuana close to a window. Now you can get, I think it's 15 years if you have more than 9 flowering plants. So you have to have 4, just you. And then 4 if you live with someone else. But if you guys have 9, you can get jail time. If there's smoking happening in a vehicle, they don't say if it's stationary or moving, you can get arrested. They don't specifically say what residence means. So it's almost like, okay, the Constitutional Court forced us to make this legal. We're going to do what we can to make it a little bit more illegal than it would have been if we just did the thing the right way.
Yeah.
So it's very disheartening.
See all that.
It's
That's
sad.
bad decision making.
Just horrible. No, that's the worst decision making by far.
It's bad.
If you just kept your mouth, if you just closed your eyes, you could have made a better decision.
Yeah.
If doing nothing is a better decision than you getting involved, you have a problem. So when it came to the Marijuana for Personal Consumptions Act, it's sad how something that could now generate an excessive amount of income and taxpayer and tax for the country.
And that's something
is
we
being
can use the
held down.
vacant land for.
Exactly. Just have a bunch of marijuana plants growing for all kinds of things. You can-
Durban has
make
the
clothing.
best soil for
for marijuana.
producing marijuana.
Exactly. Might not have
cannabis. Let's say it right. Not
Yeah.
marijuana.
Oh, cannabis. Yeah, right. For producing cannabis. It's just sad, man, because, again, like I said, when you're pretending, and I'm going to be honest with you, to how are we going to grow the economy? What's next? And then something goes, I'm right here. I'm good. Me, I make billions. And they go, no, not you.
Yeah.
Not you. And then you want to look to something else. I'll never believe you want to grow the economy again. This thing makes its own money. The amounts of money that the United States has been able to make
Listen, bro, there's
it's-
a high international demand
for our stuff.
for something that we have the right soil,
Exactly.
the right weather to produce.
And we're trying to find ways to prevent people from being able to produce that and make money on their own. It's very disheartening. But the conversation was great. The idea of the podcast is for me to have conversations with people that aren't usually highlighted often. Like, I know people like talking to musicians and artists and stuff, and that's great. But I want to talk to just the person who's got a company that makes like canna butter, for example. I want to talk to the guy. My next guest is going to be a guy who works in the military. He's a chef.
Oh, I can't wait for that one.
Right? You don't need to be like a famous person flying overseas. Just what is it like to be a chef in the military? Have you seen people die? What does it feel like?
What is it like to be in the military?
Where are you feeding them? Where are we going? Our military does our missions. What's going on here? Like, there's a lot we don't know about our own country, our own economy. And I just want to talk to people that are normal. And the idea of it being called outside the 9 to 5 is I want to get guys who have a normal 9 to 5, but have a passion outside of that they're pushing. So this guy is a military chef, but then he's also a DJ. So I want to But that's our generation. We are the do
That's who
more
we
than
are.
one thing generation. And there's a reason why we're doing that. We need to start highlighting how dope that is.
Actually,
about us.
it's important to, if you have a job, it's important for you to find something outside of that job.
Exactly.
Anything. It could be bringing you 100 rands a month.
Exactly.
It's
But as
better
long as
than
you've got
nothing.
more than one stream of, the average millionaire has 6 streams of income. That's the average. You can get lucky and get that with one, but it's very rare that you will. And even if money isn't prerogative, you don't want your job to be so mundane that you start to resent even something that's a passion of yours. And so I like the fact that I'm talking to just normal people about their normal day-to-day, what it's like to do their job, a couple of jokes, find out a little bit more about what their job is like specifically, because all I know about is my job, right? I would love to know about other people's jobs.
See, that's how everyone should be.
Yeah.
It's important to know what people are doing, because then that helps you understand the climate that you're in, or the environment that you're in.
Exactly. I want to talk to a lot more people, but thank you for bringing it up, man. I'm really enjoying doing it.
There's so many things we're going to be doing in future.
Yeah.
Look out for something with this man. We are working on it.
Working hard.
We don't want to spoil it now, but like, trust me, you're going to be seeing something that's going to be handled by Mpendulo.
Okay.
So if you like Mpendulo, stick around. Go to his podcast on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Deezer, wherever you get your podcast. Go and listen to his stuff.
Thank
so what we're going to do here on GNTV, we're going to put him on screen.
Okay.
You know? So screen time, you're not going to...
And I'm looking forward to it, man.
Yeah.
I really am looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. It's going to be an adventure.
It's interesting. Trust me, it's different. No one is doing it here in SA.
Okay.
Because that's important.
Yeah. But no, thank you. And thank you for having me again. It's really nice just having, a normal conversation.
Bro.
I don't know if we were structured. We might have been all over the place, but it was great. I enjoyed it.
It's always a pleasure to have you
thanks,
on
man.
the pod. Thanks for coming through. I know you had issues before you got your...
just bad luck. When the world doesn't want you to do something. Hey, bruh.
I don't wish that on anyone.
Yeah, no, it was heartbreaking. It felt like I was just supposed to stay home, and I was like, nah, I have to be here. I have to do this. I want to see you guys. I want to see how everything is going. And I love this setup.
Yeah, thank you.
I really like this setup.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah.
Thank you. Otherwise, anything you want to add before we kill this?
Oh, yeah. Again, I said this last time, or something similar to it. It's just, I just want everyone to be wary of what you read. Take the time to make sure that it is worth being passionate about, because it's accurate, because nothing is worse than expending energy on something that's fake, that isn't real, that's being over-exaggerated, that might be deemed fake news, for example. We need as many people to be invested in the truth as humanly possible. And I know people always talk about my truth, my truth, my truth. Well, there's an objective truth, the one that doesn't care about your feelings. That's the truth I want us to start focusing our energy on, and making that something that we can finally benefit from and not constantly be trying to fight against. And to anyone watching, take the time, get the information you need to get, think about things. And then when you are going to be active, make sure that your activism isn't to make you feel good, but it's to make real change happen on the planet. And I'll join you. I'll be right there with you. Lead the way and I'll follow. So that's all I have to say.
Absolutely. You heard the man. Do the right thing. Make sure you subscribe somewhere, one of the corners. Also, you start seeing Mr. Tiny Films _ himself. You'll see also his YouTube channel. He's got great content.
Yeah.
See, Lenta, whatever he's doing here, you can see more on his channel. So do the right thing. Just click on that icon and head on over there. He has music videos. He has documentaries. He has short stories. He has skits. What else am I forgetting, bro? He's working on a short story or short series, whatever. But the man never gets tired. He has content for days.
Yeah.
So head on over, check out his channel, and do follow us on Instagram at GNPS _podcast. Follow me on Twitter at general _Ngini. On Facebook, it's just general with an I, space Geniela. Otherwise, shout out to T in the background. She's one of the many faces of this podcast. So also follow. What's your handle? Let's get you followers. T _Matela. You can follow her. And shout out to Mpendulo for being a great guest again.
Thank you.
Thank you, bro.
I'm trying.
Follow him as well at Mpendulo _Dembe.
I don't even remember my handle. Thank you. But yeah.
So I check out your shit, bro.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, otherwise, it's all love and peace. Catch us next time. Bang, bang.